But for the kid that's on the team with the 5-star athlete, this is who it's for. It's the kid coming off the bench that's like, I'm good enough to play at the next level, but I actually want to go to D1. I might have to be in JUCO for a year or two, but I really want to go to D1. So I'm going to go JUCO for a couple years. I'm going to continue on the app. I'm going to continue my following. I'm going to continue the hype around me so that I can then drop in to Division 1.
Southwest Florida is one of the most beautiful places on the planet to live. For those of you that are thinking of moving from other states to come to Florida, or even just moving to a different part of the state, I want you to think of a big, beautiful luxury home. Contact Legacy Luxury Builders. They are a family-owned and operated luxury residential construction company. As a family-owned business, they believe in the power of building not just homes, but legacies. Contact Legacy Luxury Builders. The nightmare of feeling like you'll never measure up, of constant second guessing and self-doubt. It eats away at you and destroys your confidence. I've been there too, feeling like I didn't belong on the field with my teammates, but it doesn't have to stay that way. I used to compare myself to everyone around me. I thought that no matter how hard I worked, I'd never be as good as the other guys. It killed my self-belief. I now help athletes develop an elite mindset so comparison no longer controls them. We teach techniques to cut out the negative self-talk and unlock your full potential. Imagine stepping into the box when it counts the most and feeling totally confident in your ability, feeling invincible instead of insecure, ready to seize the opportunity instead of shrinking from it. That's the mindset I help athletes develop. Don't waste another minute on comparison and self-doubt. Take control of your mindset and become the confident, unstoppable competitor you were meant to be. DM or comment below to get started with Edge and transform your mental game. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Determined Society. Tonight, I have with me an amazing guest, an individual who is just a groundbreaking CEO of an amazing company that is built around helping athletes transition after sport, but also, most importantly, nowadays, name, image, and likeness is a big deal. And these athletes need to build their brands online so that way they can drive revenue sources to them so they're not starving while they're in college like I did way back in 01 and 03 and get suspended for making $50 at a baseball camp that my coach asked me to work at. So listen, guys, without further ado, I have my boy, Brian Fullmer. He is the CEO of the Athlete Narrative, which I am partnered with, here with us tonight. So let's give him a warm welcome. What's up, bud?
What's up, buddy? I didn't know about the that $50. That's a. I'm sure the story behind the getting suspended, fined, whatever for $50. That's funny stuff. Gotta love it.
Dude, it's funny. I'll tell you the story right now. So my very first year at LSU, I got there. I don't know, it was 2000. The fall of 2000. I got injured, right? But right before I got injured and I was out for the whole year, Skip Burtman comes up to me. I mean, Skip Burtman, man. He's like, "Ooh, Sean, I'm going to need you to work a baseball camp because you're a good boy. I have my cages. They're over there off of Burbank, see? And these little kids, they need us to teach them how to be good baseball players because then they come here like you did." Mm-hmm. I'm like, "Coach, I got you. And I'll give you $50. I'm like, "Awesome. Cool, man. Like, fantastic." So not thinking anything of it, I go there and I work this camp, and it was strange to me because I was new to the whole culture, right? I didn't understand helping kids out yet. It was like the first of very many times that I was in the public eye talking to everybody and just being a steward of the program LSU, and worked the camp, and like a couple weeks later, man, I get this weird call to go up to the compliance office. I'm like, "Compliance? What's that?" I go, "All right." So I go up to the big athletic building. I go there. They start asking me all these questions. Do you have a job? I'm like, "Nah, I don't have a job." Have you made any money? I'm like, "No, like, what are you talking about?" Because it didn't even register to me, man. Like, I had no idea.
You're a dumb 18, 19-year-old kid. You don't know any better. You're just literally like, someone offered me $50. Why not?
Bro, it's $50 is $50. Like, dude, you know how many drinks at the Tiger Bar that was back in the day in Tigerland? Like, you go on a Friday night, the first 3 hours are like free drinks, right?
You are rich.
So,
You got $50
bro,
and then a whole evening to blow it on. Absolutely.
exactly. And it's just like, whatever girl you saw, it's like, don't worry, girl, I got 50. We can drink all night. It's good. So I'm like, no, I didn't make any money. And they're like, well, wait a second. We've heard that you worked at Skip Burtman's camp, at the batting cages. I'm like, oh, that time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's $50 though. It's not a job, but my coach asked me to do something and I went. And they're like, all right, thanks, appreciate you. And, a couple days later, Skip calls me into his office and he goes, ooh, I'm sorry, but you're suspended. I'm like, for what? Like, what are you talking about? I'm suspended. He's like, a whole week, you're out. You're suspended. I'm like, what did I do wrong? What did I do? Did I break a team rule? He's like, ooh, you worked for me at that camp. I'm like, dude, seriously?
You hired
So
me.
yeah. So I'm like, what about you? Like, what's going on with you? He's like, oh, don't worry about me. And so I was suspended that week. The next week, I ended up getting a concussion. So I was out for 2 straight weeks, man. It was crazy.
Old school NCAA having all of the control and just lording it over everyone over nonsense. Gotta love it.
Dude, you have to love it. And that's kind of what we're here for, right? I mean, that's kind of how you.
That's such a funny segue. We literally, people are going to think we planned that. We did not plan that. You just said that funny story at the intro.
Listen, it's called synergy. It's what it is, right? It's called being in alignment. So let's talk about that, man. The NCAA, right? It's a necessary evil, right? It's a governing body of athletics in collegiate sports, and it brings so much joy to people's lives as far as athletes and fans and coaches and everything like that. I can't live without college football and college baseball. I'm telling you straight up, dude. I just can't do it. It drives me crazy when it's not on. And I mean, I'm just a big proponent of it. But, for a long time, these athletes weren't able to make money. They couldn't build their brands. And, the NCAA is making
Billions.
an ass load of money off these kids.
Yep.
And like, dude, like to a point where there's a lot of people, and I'm not even talking about race, but they're just saying like it was modern day slavery.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And here we are now with NIL money, and these kids are able to make profits and money off their name, image, and likeness, which I think is great. Right. And, the big players, right. The big players get a lot of love. I mean, I think it was reported that Bryce Young was a millionaire before he took a snap.
Yep, exactly.
I mean, that's insanity, right? But you have other athletes that really may not get that love. They're not the top tier athletes. So, what if there was a service that they could be a part of in order to push their name out and brand them? And that's where we're here with Athlete Narrative. So why don't you tell the audience a little bit about the origin story of Athlete Narrative and, what you have going over there?
Yeah. So origin story is, I wish I was the actual creator, the actual acorn of the idea. I'm the CEO of the company. I was brought in and I've added a whole bunch to it, but the actual acorn of the idea came from one of our other founders. His son plays professional soccer, and they were over in Europe because his son is 15-year-old. He was invited over to Europe to try out for some European teams. He's a legit soccer player. And as they're at these camps, he's noticing several of the other kids out there are not good. Like his son is far and away better than some of these other kids. So he starts like probing some of the other parents that are there because they can't really interact. Like, he's in Barcelona, so they can't really interact with the kids. And he's like, how is this kid over here? How's he even here? They're like, oh, you don't know? His dad owns a PR firm. Oh, okay. And they start asking around, and there's about 4 kids that have no business being there. Okay. But those kids have so much gravity around them. They have so much hype online because they have parents spending tens of thousands or they own a PR firm that have hyped these kids up. And that these kids are really good athletes, but they're not professional level athlete. But at the end of the day, you are at this point, whether we like it or not, you are who Google says you are. You are who Instagram says you are. You are who Facebook says you are. At the end of the day, you are what is online. So he came back from that and he's like, man, I've got this idea. He came to me and one of the other founders who happens to be my brother. And we both had 17 years in the banking industry, VPs at bank, running some of the largest mortgage banking firms in America, as well as self-producing. And he's like, I've got this idea. What do you guys think about this? And we're like, oh my goodness. I've got an amazing career. I've been doing this for 17 years. I'm vested. I'm everything into this company, and you just dropped a game-changing nugget on us.
It's like, what are you doing, dude? I had my life planned
I had
out.
my life
Really?
planned out, and it was planned out great with the deferred comp and all the fun stock and
It
all
was
this stuff.
great.
It was so
Yeah.
good. And then you drop this, and he's like, "And we want you to be the CEO." Okay, here we go. So that's how we got here. Which is how a lot of actual problems get solved. Is it's a real life situation where someone goes, "Why don't we solve this?" So what he did and what we came up with was this company called Athlete Narrative, which is we're going to brand these kids. We're going to give them actual content on a daily basis. I mean, the nuts and bolts of it, it's an app. But number one, when a kid comes in with us, they're going to think of it like a personality test. Okay. They're going to come in, they're going to take a test, and we're going to identify one of their archetypes. We've identified 10 archetypes that exist on in sports. Okay. And they're going to take a test. It's proprietary to us. It's 37 questions, and it's going to spit it out and say and I'll just make them up. You're an underdog. Okay. And it's going to give the pros of that, the cons of that. It's going to give like the blind spots that could potentially come with it. And then one of the things we're going to do is we're going to provide them with a post every single day that's personalized to them with the through line that they're an underdog, so that they have that natural branding that's just consistent. Because as we started, teasing this out to athletes over the last 8 to 10 months as we've been working on this, they all said the same thing. I want to post content. I just don't know what the heck to say. I don't even know where to begin. We're like, hey, what if we provided you with something every single day that was personalized to you, and all you had to do inside of our app, because this is the big one, the app is tied to all social medias. So all they do is they read it, they say, okay, this sounds like me, hit approve, and inside the app it goes to Instagram, X, it goes to Facebook, it goes to everything for them. So they don't have to do it themselves. So it's literally just a plug and play for kids, which is huge, so that they can get the NIL, they can get the more exposure, because we all know in social media, you're a social media guy yourself. Consistency is key. Is there anything more important? What's more important, consistency or content?
Consistency, dude. I mean, you have to keep showing up, bro. And again, and I want to jump in here because you said something that was very telling, and it's not just the athletes, creators like myself. Like, I'm a podcast host. I'm not some guy that just wants to get in front of a camera and talk to a selfie and put it out there every day. It is a struggle putting out content on a daily basis. And I know I can go maybe 1 or 2 days a week without doing it and be okay mentally about it. But I just know that if I don't, like, I have this weird program in my mind, like, they're going to forget. I have to be out there, right? Like, I have to be out there. So to your point, like, people like me, and I think I made this comment to you the first time we had a phone conversation. I was like, do you have one for podcast hosts? Like, what the hell? Like,
what type of archetype are you? Yep, correct.
Yeah, like, I mean, like, can you do this for me? Like, because I don't want to be able to sit here and curate content all day, right? I want to go out and interview people like dudes like yourself and amazing women that are doing great things in sports for these athletes. But I don't necessarily want to be worried about what to post and when to post it, what to write, what hashtag to use. Like, bro, that's fucking out of my scope, man. No, I don't want to. So, to your point, I think there's a big deal here that you guys are creating for these athletes, as far as just even that is big in itself. Just that is so big, but there's so many other things that you guys have going on in this app, and I just think it's so important to talk to the audience about it.
Yeah. So there's so many different features. So make sure everyone fully understands that they're going to take the test, they're going to get their curated archetype, and that archetype matters because then the consistency and the messaging and the branding of who you are as a person then matters. Okay. So one of the other things we give them access to is our locker room. So the best way we can explain it is think of it like Reddit behind our paywall that's exclusive for athletes. Okay. So it's a place where athletes, and this is, near and dear to your heart with where you want to talk and you champion so much mental health. It's a place where athletes can go and actually get resources. So we provide things in there like a recruiting playbook. So we give them a step-by-step playbook on like, here's actual email templates to send to coaches. Okay. Here's how often you need to reach out to a coach. Here's when you do reach to a communicate with a coach. Here's the type of questions you need to ask, because a lot of them will get on the phone with the coach They don't know what the hell to say.
Yeah.
Why?
100%.
They're 16, 17 years old. They're 18 years old. They don't know how to communicate. So they don't even know what questions to ask. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we're providing them with all these types of resources and stuff so that we can actually champion them. So our kind of North Star is to help avoid, and something that you also talk about as well, is that life after sport that, let's, because when we first talk about this, everyone always thinks we're a recruiting platform. And we always like, no. We are not a recruiting platform. There's
not.
plenty of recruiting platforms that exist. That's not us. We'll run side by side with your recruiting platform. We're not in competition with them, but we are not a recruiting platform.
Mm-hmm.
We are a champion of the human platform. We want to take you. Let's take, and I like to use this analogy. Let's take the really good female soccer player. She comes onto the platform as a sophomore in high school. Okay. We have her from the time she's a sophomore in high school to the time she's a senior in college. And all throughout her high school, we gained her up to like 5,000 to 7,000 followers. For a high school soccer female player, that's a good. That's
really good, man. That's really freaking good.
And what people don't realize is we can actually get her paid now, because people will be like, well, why does that matter? Well, let's say she's a local varsity soccer player. You don't think Bob's Pizzeria wants to pay her $250 to give a couple shout outs? Okay. We provide the platform for her to be able to do that, okay, to get the NIL money, because NIL money is now getting approved for high school athletes. And state of Idaho just approved it. We're in Idaho.
Wow, dude.
So NIL money is going to high school athletes very, very, very quickly. And like I said, Idaho just approved it, that high school athletes can now get NIL money, because why shouldn't they be able to monetize their brand? It's their own likeness. Okay.
Yeah.
So then again, this girl then goes on to play college. She goes to a small, let's call it a JUCO. She's a really good. And towards her junior year, she starts realizing, okay, my sport's going to end. But she's been with us from the time she's a freshman in high school or sophomore in high school. We then start having her take a career aptitude test to figure out, okay, what are you doing after sport? Like what's your next step? Because there is going to become life after this. And let's say she tests out, she's great in sales, and we help her figure out as well, because that's one of some of the services we provide. You're great in sales and you've got contacts in the insurance industry. Okay. So we start dripping into her daily posts once or twice a week from the time she's about a junior in college to the time she graduates, stuff about business, stuff about insurance. So that when she announces her senior year of college and she now has 15,000 real engaged fans that, hey, I went and joined XYZ insurance company, please give me a shot on your next quote. She's now monetized all those eyeballs that were on her for the last 6 to 7 years. And she actually got something out of it outside of a great college career. But now she has something that propels her into life, which is so huge for kids, because they get done with sport and that they go, what do I do now? What's next?
It's the most crippling feeling. I remember College World Series 2003. We get beat by Cal State Fullerton game 1, 8-2. And then we played South Carolina and we had swept them that year, right? Like handedly. Like we were not worried about South Carolina in that second game. We knew we were moving on. And I was like, okay, cool. I got one more. We're going to get through this, right? They jump up big time, like 8-0 or, 8-2 or something stupid like that. And we fight back. We end up losing 11-10. We were actually up in the 8th inning and we ended up giving up the lead, and then we got sent home. And I remember that feeling, that moment you just spoke about, sitting in right field, not knowing who I was.
Yeah, because you didn't know who I was. Sports. Yeah,
bro. I'm like thinking like, I don't know, like Ricky Bobby on Talladega Nights. I don't know what to do with my hand. I don't know. I didn't know who Sean French was. Sean French was always the baseball player. Sean French, the catcher. Sean French, the LSU baseball player. I wrapped my identity around this freaking ball and bat, right? And diamond that, it was crippling for me after that. And I went on a long streak of making poor decisions and hurting people emotionally, and just so I can fill that freaking void. Right. It was just bad. So, the transition from, life after sport, I think to me is, in my opinion, dude, and in my opinion that is the shit about the whole thing. Like that is
100%. That is our North Star. That is what's the most
for sure.
But the kids love us because we're making them kind of small town famous. We're giving them NIL money. We're giving them exposure, because make no mistake about it. And this from college recruiters. One of the first things they all go to their social media. The second,
Yeah, dude.
and they go to that social media, and where we are going to be having quality content provided to them that shows their personality, that also shows the responsibility, all the good things, that just elevates that kid. So yes, we helped you get recruited. Now I can't change if you got a janky jump shot. Like I can't I can't fix your jump shot. But what I can do is I can get you
Sure.
more exposed into more places. But what's near and dear to me as the CEO, and I want parents to understand that as well, it's life after sport. And mom, dad, you have spent the last 7-8 years on club teams, traveling every weekend, all this sort of stuff. And then come the sophomore year, freshman year in high school, someone looked at you and said, hey, your child has the ability to play the next level, but you need to get them exposure. And every mom and dad goes, how? How do I don't even know how to do social media. Like, how am I supposed to do that? That's where we go, mom, dad, let us take that. We'll take that. You've invested so much in, you go be the parents. We will grandstand these kids. We will get them NIL money. We will get the service for most to where it's actually essentially free, because we're going to make them enough NIL money to just pay for the service itself. And now you just get to be mom and dad. And then also we'll teach them proper habits so that when they go into their career, they've got real followings. I mean, think if you had graduated LSU with 10 to 15,000 real engaged followers.
It would have been nuts, dude. I mean, we didn't have Facebook then, I mean, we didn't have Facebook, but I want to rewind a little bit, because we've talked about follower count. Now we're talking about parents and, exposure for the kids. Like, parents, if you're listening right now, and if you're an athlete, I want you to push pause, walk this over to your parents, and push play so they can hear it. Following count does matter. A lot of people say that it doesn't, but let me ask you a question, Brian. Would you have contacted me? Would Athlete Narrative contacted me? No. There's 1,000 of me out there. I mean, more than 1,000. If I didn't have the follower account I had, if I didn't have the guests on my show that I had, or the engagement, most importantly, that I have, right? Like you would have passed. It would be like, so my point is, right, because of the engagement and the follower account I have, parents and athletes, an average engagement rate on Instagram is 2 to 5%. And if you're at 3%, you're killing it. I'm at 10.9%. Yeah. So with that said, that magic number, Athlete Narrative, I came up with a deal because of that. We want to help the people in my sphere. Like, you guys get 10% off every single month on the membership fee, every single month, recurring, for the lifetime that you are on that app. So I'll put the link in the show notes, and I know that might have sounded a little salesy to people, but I don't care, because I truly believe in this, and it's something that these athletes need, and it's much better than spending $15,000 to get them to a showcase that they probably shouldn't be at. I mean, let's talk about we can talk about that later, but the fix, well, we're going to talk about it now. The fix used to be, there's a fall showcase in Fort Myers for Perfect Game, and I love Perfect Game. For the dudes, right? But you send this athlete that doesn't have that skill level, and they get exposed, right? And this parent paid all this money for the showcase, all the hotel, all the food, all the travel, when they could have been spending $90 a month.
Correct.
Yeah. So I mean, that's just my soapbox. I'm done.
And they're going to actually get real engagement, real followers, and they're going to get it in the communities that they live in, because that's really what matters. Is yes, you can go to that showcase, you can spend a bunch of money, but be real with yourself. There's only a fraction of them that really should be playing in that, and we'll be super open with it. Listen, the 5-star of the 5-star athletes don't need Athlete Narrative. They're getting found regardless. They don't. And most of them have PR firms already working for them, already doing all that stuff. Like, don't kid yourself. They're not running that social media. Okay.
No.
But for the kid that's on the team with the 5-star athlete, this is who it's for. It's the kid coming off the bench that's like, I'm good enough to play at the next level, but I actually want to go to D1. I might have to be in JUCO for a year or two, but I really want to go to D1. So I'm going to go JUCO for a couple years. I'm going to continue on the app. I'm going to continue my following. I'm going to continue the hype around me so that I can then drop in to Division 1. That's really who this is for. This is for the masses. This is now, yes, we've got a few 5-star athletes on it because they love the product. But for the most part, it's exactly what you said. It's for the masses, and it's just making their life so much easier so that they can do what they do. Be the student athlete.
Yeah, I mean, it's genius, dude. And I think the big thing, the other big thing is, like, while they're in, high school now it's becoming approved for NIL money, but while they're in college, dude, I remember sitting there on my couch in Tiger Plaza, right, in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, call my parents like, I have no more money. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, because I didn't know how to budget it. Shit, sometimes I still feel like I suck at budgeting money. That's why I have my wife, because she's so good at it, right? But it's like, what do I do? But now, right, if these athletes have a brand, they can profit off their name, who they are.
Absolutely.
Like $250 a post or something like that, right? Like whatever it is.
And they don't have to do it. And that's one thing, like one of the communities that is relatively, and I guess I shouldn't say underserved, but like female sports do not get the attention even close to what male sports do. However, Sean, you know this. Who runs social media? Females.
Women.
It's for a female to have 50,000 followers, she doesn't even have to be very good. She can get 50,000 followers. For a male to have 50,000 followers, that's the equivalent of like a female having 500,000 followers. It's so hard.
I can attest, dude. I can attest to this, and sorry to cut you off, but I've been at 57.7, dropped to 57.4, back up. I've been at that for a year, and you know how long it took me to get there? A very long time,
but
right?
Females murder it in social, it's not even close. So for the female athletes, like guys, that's moms, dads of the female athletes. That's how they're going to make money in college. That's how they're going to make money after college. They do these posts, and they do this stuff that's in their vein, that's their archetype, that's their narrative, and they stay on point with that stuff. It's not crazy to think just an average female volleyball player is going to have 15,000 followers. And then again, if you have 15,000 followers and you're in a local community, whether you're a Division I school or not, you don't think any of the local restaurants are going to happily pay you a few $100 for a shout out? You don't think all these businesses that want to support you anyways happily will do it because you have the eyeballs on you? And again, where you're posting every day because we're providing you posts, it becomes very natural. And here's where it even gets more fun for them. When the businesses say, hey, I need you to say X, Y, and Z about us twice a month, those businesses tell us, and we deliver that post to the app for the athlete, and all the athlete has to do is hit approve. They don't actually have to do any of the organic work. We're just taking advantage of the eyeballs that's on them. Again, it's just they would just be approving a normal daily post for themselves. So it just runs it runs all through our system. So it's taking advantage of the eyeballs that are already on them. So
it's incredible, man. It's incredible because I'm starting to see all the puzzle, the pieces just fall into place, right? Like I see Cags over at University of Florida. He's going to go in the first round this year, right? Big lefty hitter. I mean, he led the nation in home runs last year, I believe. I see things with him on social media at this restaurant, right? And talking about fan fuel and everything like that. I'm like, this is amazing. I love seeing a good baseball player that has great character out there getting his. But what I will say is I'm going to go on and piggyback off of what you said about women's athletics. That's where it becomes unfair. That's where it becomes a little bit, kind of sucks, man, because they're not getting the exposure, right? Because, not everybody's watching gymnastics. Not everybody's watching women's soccer. So the dudes, the Jaden Daniels is right. Like the Major Burns is like all those, big athletes, football guys. Of course, I'm naming LSU guys because that's how I roll. They're getting the attention. They're getting the money. But what about these girls, man? And what I love about this app is it takes care of that.
Yep.
It truly, it does not cater to one type of athlete. It's all athletes, right? And it doesn't cater to top tier.
No.
It's, like you said, all encompassing. And I just want to reiterate it because I know we said it earlier, but I want the kids and the parents listening. And what I really want is for them to have some follow through, man, after they're hearing the show. And I'm going to call it out. I'm going to say it because a lot of times people hear something. Oh, that sounds really cool. They go about their little lives and they forget about what they just heard. Like, guys, this is, you don't forget about this. You don't forget about this. If you want your children going to a 4-year college and learning about business, learning about branding, and learning how to become productive members of society post sports, then this is necessary.
Yes. Yeah. No, absolutely. And that's really been our North Star. That's what our passion is the life after sport. And we're solving so many of the problems that because of the amount of problems we've solved, we're getting into doors that we didn't even think imaginable. I mean, we're having entire universities potentially, and they're in talks with us to almost mandate this, because some of the features that we have in there is like we've got a warning system in there.
Now we're getting, yep. I like that one. Speak on that.
So there's something that the parents love, is the fact that once like the kids have the ability to edit the post. So let's say we provide them with a post, and I'll just make up a post. They're an underdog hero, and it says everyone's journey begins somewhere. Here's my journey. And then we have a prompt in there that's like, hey, grab a picture of you as a kid from your camera roll, because the app speaks directly to the camera roll. Of course it does. If they go in and they start editing it, we have flags in there that will then give them a warning. And then it's going to say, hold up, this is off narrative. Are you sure you want to post this? Because you and I both know one bad post lives forever. And the kids have the ability to post organically through our stuff. So our AI is able to quickly scan the post that they're about ready to post and tell them, hey, are you sure you want to post this? We're not going to stop them, but we're going to for sure give them that warning to make sure they can at least think about what they're about ready to post. So it's one of the things parents and mothers in particular love, that they're like, oh my gosh, my kid's never posting outside of athlete narrative. We're like, well, good. That was kind of the thought process behind that.
Yeah.
And then the universities, club owners, they all love it because it protects the brand. It protects the universities. It protects the whether they're a club basketball, club baseball, it doesn't matter. It protects the club, because they don't have a kid going rogue and saying something really, really dumb, and then he lives forever. I mean, you and I are both old enough that we grew up without social media. I cannot imagine the amount of horrible things I would have said at 16, 17, 18 years old if I had social media. Because I
would be canceled by now.
Absolutely. So it's one of the ways that we want to make level the playing field for the kids, that like, hey, social media is not really fair for you. So let's give you some of that power back, the same way we talked about earlier, like the NCAA. Let's take some of the power away from the NCAA. Let's take some of the power away from social media companies, and let's give you some guardrails to protect you, because your brain's not fully developed. It's not your fault. You don't fully understand consequences yet. So let's protect you, which will then long term just protect your brand.
Yeah, I think it's an important thing, man, because I mean, I see adults on Facebook and Twitter, especially Twitter. I mean, Twitter is a nasty place to be, dude.
It's a dumpster fire.
Wow. I mean, I stopped going there. Sometimes I'll post and ghost.
Yeah.
Like I'm out, right? That's not my I mean, I have a decent following on Twitter, about, 18,000, but I don't get a ton of engagement like I do on Instagram, because I don't nurture it. Right. And it's because it's so negative. Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, I see adults saying things that I'm like, dude, you need to be censored, because this is going to come back on you. I don't even know how you can put this out there and be okay with it.
Yeah.
It blows my mind.
Yeah. So the kids initially don't like it, but then they're like, okay, so you're telling me, you're giving me just a quick second thought. Yes. And that's some of the other stuff we provide in that locker room, is we provide them with decorum, online decorum, online etiquette. I know some of this stuff goes without saying, but it's good for them to rehear it. We provide career playbooks in there as well, helping them learn how to write a resume, stuff like that. What we hate, and you experience this as well, is that baseball loved you till it didn't need you.
Yeah.
And then the second it didn't need you, it went, have a good one, Sean. And you went, what? I thought we were in this for life. And they went, no, we don't need you, young man. There is a new crop coming right after you, and you're not good enough to go to the next level. So you don't got to go home, but you got to get out of here. Okay.
Yeah. Get up out of here. It's crazy because, that hurts. Right. And for years I'm sitting there thinking I hated the game. I was so mad at it.
Towards it.
I couldn't even hear the word baseball without wanting to throw up, quite honestly. And, I went out, I think probably 2 years out of baseball. Right. And tried to help out somewhere. And I'm like, this is disgusting. I can't do it. And it wasn't until 2009, 8. So 5 years after the sport ended for me that I could get back on the field. Despise it for 5 years. And a lot of people say, 5 years, Sean, dude, chill out, bro. That ain't a long time. That was my whole life, people. That's all I knew.
Yeah.
I remember swinging a big red bat when mom pitching me with a big white ball when I was 2 years old. Some memories you just don't lose. Right. And that was one of them. So for me, 5 years was just a ginormous amount of time But, it just, I don't know. It's a tangent, but I mean, it just didn't need me more. It was gone.
Yeah.
Right. And then it comes full circle, right? The game calls you back. And, I feel like athletics called me back through my platform.
Mm-hmm.
And I resisted it for a long time, Brian. I resisted it. Well, I started out with athletes. I'm like, yeah, no, this isn't going to work. And then I switched and I'm like, I'm going to go to entrepreneurs. Like, this is what everybody on Instagram is doing. So I'm going to go do it. And it went off like a lead balloon, dude. It was bad. Like, everything I launched no one bought. It was terrible. And then I would say, I don't know, man, probably about 6 months ago, I decided to go just all in again on athletes. And my podcast and my brand has just skyrocketed since then, because now I fully own it. Right now, I know what my origin story was. I know where I fit in, and I'm passionate about it now. And that's what people are picking up on. Right. So, like, this is living within my archetype, which I would like to know what mine is, actually.
We'll have you test out. We'll have you test out what it is.
Yeah. I want to test. It would be interesting. I'm probably going to say underdog. Right. I mean, if I had to guess I would guess underdog.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Yeah. There's under, I would have to have them all in front of me, but yeah, there's 10 and people it's one of those things. People love taking those because they love to be told, here's actually what you are. Because also think of how many teenagers are like, they want an identity. They want that. So to have that, and then to have that like calling card that they wear of exactly what, like, no, this is really who I am, and then everything's built around it. They love it. They love it.
It's so funny because I wish, you're talking about, building around the athlete, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I wish I had the ability to show people right now what you built for Jackson Beeman at Mizzou. Like, I wish. I mean, dude, I sent that to him, and he messaged me. He's like, what the hell? Like, wow, like, this is insane.
It's like,
can we hop on a call? I'm like, yeah, bro, we can hop on a call.
It's we call it a radar page. It's so the best way to describe it to people is and I'll back up even kind of explain that origin story. So one of our athletes she's an Idaho gal. She's a USC commit for basketball. Okay. And in the year that we're recording this, it's now 2024, but in 2023, to be a USC commit is a big deal. USC female basketball right now is some of the best of the best. Okay.
Right.
So we brought her on. She helped, give some feedback and stuff. And she said, one of the things that really bothered me, she was just really taxing. She was like, I got onto the Adidas circuit, then I got onto the Nike circuit and some other stuff like that, which in basketball, she's over in Europe playing and stuff. So she's a big deal. She's top 20 recruit in the nation. She's like, what would suck is after these games, all these different scouts, recruiters, they all wanted to speak to me. She was like, and I couldn't physically speak to all of them. She was like, but they all wanted different information from different places. She said, if I had something where it all existed in one ecosystem and I could just simply be like, here, use this, and everything existed, it'd make my life easier. And we're like, oh, we can create that in like 2 seconds. So with that being said, what it is it's a living, breathing thing, but it's a landing for everything about the athlete. So every handle that they have, if they're like a football player, their huddle link's going to be on there, all their highlights, all the articles that have been written about them, all their stats are about them, all the way down to literally like, what is your hype music? Give me your hype music. So that when a recruiter goes to there, to a brand company goes there, to when a scout goes to there, to when a coach does, they don't have to go to all these different places to find out about the athlete. Everything about that athlete exists right there. Again, that's why we say we don't compete with, Huddle's huge in the football world. Huge. We're not trying to be Huddle. We just bring Huddle in with everything else where it all exists. So it is funny. We created that kind of thinking it was a cool thing. And the athletes, we've even done it for professional athletes, and they go nuts for them. They think it's the coolest thing ever. And we're like, awesome. So they start sharing it with people. And we refer to it as a radar page. And again, that's all included in the subscription. It's just part of what we do.
I mean, I got to tell you, it's really cool. And for the audience here that is like on the edge of their seat about this app, like in the services, I was looking at his radar page, and at the very top was a link to his merch. Like literally that, I mean, he sends that out to people, and there's a way to go buy, shirts like his comeback season. It's his comeback season. He's gone through some major injuries, and he's a dude, bro. Watch. I'm guaranteeing first day for this guy. Watch. Oh, really? He's going to hop on. He's healthy. His mind's right. And when that ball touches the barrel, it's different. It's different. I'm telling you. And the best part is nobody knows, and he's going to sneak up on some people. So he has a shirt. It's the comeback season. I was like, dude, I got to get that. But the cool thing about the Radar page is it truly mirrors what the athlete narrative truly is.
Correct.
Helping kids build their brand, bring money to the table for them so they can not be stressed, so they can, and learn. I mean, dude, let's face it. They learn about money now.
Yeah.
Like, it's an educational experience. So, the fact that you guys I never told this to you. Like, I didn't call you and tell you this or text you. I said it was sick and I'm blown away. And so did Jackson. But what really impressed me is the fact that you guys dug deep enough to see that he had merch and you put it right there on the front.
Yeah, and that's also one of the things we want to help the kids be able to sell their own stuff. So this USC commit, she's working with us to design a sweatshirt. So that's just something that we offer, and it will be sold on her Radar page. She'll keep the majority of the profits. It's part of what we offer. So once the subscription, once the follower gets to a certain count, then we approach the athlete and say, hey, do you want to? Because we've got cheerleaders that are designing sports bras. Great. You want to sell a sports bra that's specific to you. Then we've got hoopers that they want a specific hoodie. Great. We'll design that to you. And it's theirs. It's their brand. It's their logo. And it's in conjunction with athlete narrative. So that's just what we do.
That's so sick, dude. What's the follower count that they have to get to in order to do that?
Most of the time we want to see it around like 3,500 to 4,000. Otherwise it's just, we're just wasting the kids' time. So which is okay, because if they start by the time they're a freshman, sophomore in high school, we're going to have you there by the time for most of them, we're going to have you there easily by the time you're a junior. So by the time you're a junior, senior in high school, we'll be able to sell your actual merchandise, and we'll help them kind of determine what makes the most sense. Because if your kid has got 150 followers and you want to start selling merchandise, we're not there yet. We're not there. We got to crawl before we can run, but that's okay. So it just depends.
But I mean, that's the encouraging part though, Brian, because a lot of times you get out there in this abyss and you're like, okay, I got to build this brand, this online brand. Well, how the hell do I do it?
How do I start? Yeah.
Where do I start? Like brother, like when I started this in 2020, I had like 800 something followers.
Yeah.
Bro, that's almost a 50. What is that? That's almost a 50. Dude, that's a 50,000.
But everyone knows
56,000 follower growth in 3 years, and I didn't know what I was doing.
But it also
I got lucky.
Pays part of it's probably luck, but a lot of it's also just consistency. People don't realize that like your payoff doesn't come. Like getting to 57,000 doesn't happen overnight. It has to happen day in and day out, day in and day out. We were talking to another athlete who got recruited to a huge football for a huge football full ride. And he was talking about, how amazing signing day was, da 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 da. And I was like, I don't know why you reference signing day. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you tell the story specifically that everything changed with you when you were a sophomore in high school and you dropped all other sports and you went all in on football. I said, that's the day you got recruited. Like that's your signing day. Your signing day is when you decided to go every single day at this, and the consistency. Now the consistency paid off then, but that was your signing day. The same thing I would say to you, and that's why we exist. The hardest part in social media is the consistency. We will deliver that consistency to you every single day. So you just simply hit approve. It just makes their life that much easier.
Yeah, it's so funny because I remember going down the interstate when I was thinking about the Determined Society. It was just a Facebook page, dude. I just wanted to provide a Facebook page for people to get motivation from.
Yep.
And then it turned into this, right? And I had no clue what I was doing. But I remember going down 75, I-75 North, and for some reason, like chamber just unlocked in my brain and exploded. Like I was like smelling colors, bro. Like I had to pull over, and I called my wife. I'm like, holy shit, baby, listen.
Colors.
I mean, dang, dude. I was like, baby, I got to talk to you. You got to let you know. You got to tell me if I'm crazy or not. And I told her all the ideas, right? And a lot of them have come to fruition, except the clothing brand, right? And I did do some merch and things like that, and I sold a little bit of it, but that wasn't my focus at the time. And so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this podcast. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Like, am I? Tell me I'm crazy. And she goes, you can do whatever the hell you want. You're going to succeed. Like, go for it. She goes, you haven't failed at anything. I'm like, well, I fail a lot. She goes, but you know what I mean? You're going to make it work. I'm like, all right, cool. So, I figure out how to do a podcast. I reached out to my friend Natalie back in the day. I was like, hey, how do you start a podcast? Just curious. And she sent me like a YouTube link of her explaining how to start a podcast. I'm like, oh, cool. So I go to the Anchor app, like not even thinking. I get my iPhone. I'm in a hospital parking lot at work, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start a podcast. I'm gonna call it the Determined Society, and and then here we're gonna go. And then, that was the moment. That was the moment that I started. And if I fast forward it to now and I say like it's about this moment, it's really not.
No,
right? It's about all the there was a lot of tears shed in the last 3 years, dude. It's been hard. It's been difficult. It's been nasty, but it's also been one hell of a ride, and we're just getting started. Right. But you're right. Like it was that moment. It was that moment I decided to bet on myself. And that's what you're talking about. That football player did.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So moms, dads, kids that are hearing this, you don't get recruited your senior year. The freak athlete does. You get recruited your freshman, sophomore year, your 8th grade year, when you really determine, okay, now it's time. We're going to start getting serious about this. That's how you actually get recruited. The freak athletes, like they're going to get found out, but the vast majority of us, we don't get recruited that way. That's not how it works. So
wasn't my story.
No, you've got to add something like an athlete narrative to your toolbox and everything else that you're going to do. And it's that daily grind that we provide.
Dude, back in the day, we used to have this guy that would come into the house and he had his little binder. I don't know if you ever had seen that guy. It was like everybody had a guy, and he was the recruiting guy, and he would flip through his book. He'd come in and he would talk to you. I mean, genius business plan. I don't know what the hell he did. It didn't help me with anything. And anybody I knew didn't get anything out of it. But the idea, like people knew back then in 1994 that this was needed, that kids needed a way to understand, and parents needed a way then to understand how the recruitment process went and what to do and what not to do.
Yes.
Right. But it never came to fruition. And here we are in 2023. Well, shit, it's 2024
now, brother.
Dude. Hey, listen, we're all going to make that mistake. Remember, like, thank God we don't have to write checks anymore, right? Like, how often did you write the wrong year on a check back in the day?
My wife did. My wife, when she spent the money, I make the money, man.
Don't give that man a checkbook. God almighty. Oh, dude. So no, I mean, like, that's the thing, man. This thing is needed. And I just want to reiterate to people who, this resonates with, again, 10% off lifetime. You got to click on my link though. I got to warn you, if you go to their website or go to Athlete Narrative any other way other than through my link, you are not going to get a discount.
Correct.
I think I'm one of maybe 2 or 3 people in the country that have that 10. I'm one of two people in the country that have 10% off, right? Because of the value that this app is. They're not discounting it, but your boy got hooked up. So
use Sean's link, because if you come directly to me, I'm not giving you the 10%.
I'm full popping you. Full popping you.
And there's no way for me to do it. So use Sean's link. That's why he negotiated pretty hard to get it, and we went, all right, Sean, all right, fine, we'll give it to you. So, but that,
I mean, I wasn't that hard. I mean, it wasn't that hard. I didn't put the screws to you.
That's the power of followers. So like parents use that as a thing. You get your kids followers, they can start having clout. They can start making some demands where you go, all right, he's got a real engagement. Because you're crazy if you don't think we did some back research to see what your real engagement was, to see how many was fake, how many were real, and we went, oh, he has real stuff. Okay. Yep. We'll give it.
Of course you did. Like, and that's the thing, man. And like, it's so funny because at the beginning of the show, you said, Google, you are what Google says you are, right? And dude, and I want people to use this as encouragement, right? Because I remember Google told me I was nothing 2 years ago.
Yep.
Like nothing. Like, maybe like my Instagram page, because SEO on Instagram is so high, but then my website started showing up. My Twitter started showing up. My LinkedIn obviously showed up. So like, but yeah, man, it's like, and that means something to me. Like when that's noticed, because there's a lot of, you see some people out there, they'll pump in, like all the fake shit, like all of it. And we've all come, susceptible to that at one point in time. I did when I was younger in my social media journey. And then I realized like, wait a second, no, this is like almost like lying. I can't do this. There is a certain game to be played with social media and you have to know it.
Yeah.
Right. But dude, yeah, man, like what you see is what you get over here. And, it's nice to be noticed. And it's, to me, I want to build this brand to where, like you said, you're taking these young athletes and turning them into local superstars, right? Like that's what I mean. I love when I go out and I see people in like the Publix grocery store, like, hey dude, are you that guy? I'm like, I don't know. Like, what are you talking about?
Which guy?
Which guy are we talking about? I mean, did I date your daughter way back in the day and she's pissed at me? Like what? I mean, like, and then I realized like, wait, this isn't Baton Rouge. I'm safe here. This is fine. But no, they're like, hey, we've seen you on Instagram. We've seen your reels, your podcast we've listened to sometimes. And it's really cool. Like one of the coolest things, man, I got to tell you, and this is the power of brand building. When I was going through the application process for TED Talks, right? I put my application in for Babson College and then they, said, hey, let's do an interview. And they did a Zoom interview for me. And then it was a young man that just graduated, right? Or within a few years. And then a woman that is on faculty there. And the young man, I think his name was Greg, or something like that. And, dude, he was actually a listener of my show.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so, yeah, I got accepted. Like I locked down the talk. It's March 23rd. Just saying you should probably come up, but
Wait, it's in where's it at?
Babson College, Massachusetts.
Oh, okay. I can't remember where you were originally from.
Cali.
Okay, that's
Bay
right.
Area.
That's right. That's right. You're a West Coast. You're a West Coast guy, but you went to college down at LSU because I was like, you have zero accent. Like you like.
Depends who you're talking. It depends who I'm talking to.
Yeah, that's what I mean. People, because I'm a born and raised Idahoan, so people think we have accents, and I'm like, no, I actually just speak properly. Like I speak. But they're like, no,
man,
like you guys say the words weird and like that. So, anyways, sorry, total.
No, you're good, dude. You're good. It's just funny because, I do. It depends who I'm talking to, right? Like I was talking to, I met a new friend this past week, Major Burns, safety for LSU. We got on the field for my son after during the bowl game, and linked up with Major Burns. He's just one of the nicest kids I think I've ever, like, literally ever met. And I was talking to him on the phone today, and I heard my Baton Rouge come out.
Oh, really?
Quite a bit. Oh yeah, dude. I mean, it can come out like that. What's that?
You were back in your element. You were talking to someone at LSU.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. There's safety. Yeah, but I mean, like, if I'm talking to somebody from California, it doesn't come out. I don't use the same slang as I used to when I was in California, but I do say y'all because I'm in Southwest Florida. I say y'all.
But you say y'all with dude, which doesn't make any sense. Dude is West Coast.
Like, okay, so I do. So I guess I do.
So
see, like
you're throwing y'all and dude in there, but like the dude is West Coast. Dude, like no matter who you're talking to, you just got male, female, everything's dude.
What's up, dude? Yep. And it's also, hey guys.
Yep.
Like, hey guys. Yep. Yeah. The one thing I don't ever do is like hella. Like that's hella cool, man. We're not.
I can't tell you how many business, whether it was in banking or any of that, where you throw a dude and then you have someone look at you and just be like, that's just like, what's up, dude?
Cali.
Yeah, just
Cali. What's up, dude? What's up, man?
Yeah, what's up? Yeah, and I'm not Cali, but we do that same type of thing. Everything is dude, and now the kids use the bra. My daughter uses my daughter.
Bruh. Yeah. It was bra. Now it's bruh.
Yeah, bruh. Yeah, I'm like,
bruh.
I'm like, baby, stop saying bruh. Like you like, I'm dad. I'm not bruh. That's funny.
Oh my god, my 5-year-old dropped that on me the other day, bro.
Yeah, lovely. Like, wait, what?
Like, okay, cool. All right, cool. Yeah, you're clearly switching schools. Like, that's cool.
Yeah, I got called old man for the first time. My 11-year-old son, he and I were golfing on a simulator last night, and he kept hooking them left. I was like, bro, I know exactly what you're doing. Like, you're just not staying in it long enough. You need to hold your hands in it. And I give him the technicality, and then he strikes it. He looks back and he's like, apparently old man still knows what he's talking about. And I'm like, what did you just hit me? You just hit me.
Come on.
You hit me with old man. Okay, cool.
Is that your way of saying thank you?
Yeah.
That's
his way of saying thank you. And all right, old man. Okay, cool. There we go.
Call me coach. Call me coach. Coach dad. Dad coach.
I just laughed when I don't think I'm old enough for you to refer, but okay, maybe I am. So
that's so funny, man. That's so funny. Well, look, dude, I just want to thank you again. We're gonna land the plane here, but can you tell the audience before we let you go? Of course, we'll have the links in the show, but tell people where they can find the Athlete Narrative Instagram, what the handle is, and all that good stuff. I don't want to say website because I don't want them signing up without the link. So.
Yeah. So the Instagram is literally just Athlete Narrative. It didn't exist, thankfully. So that's the Instagram. Find us on there. The website is athletenarrative.com. But again, use Sean's stuff because you're not going to get the discount. He's literally one of two people in the United States that have that 10% discount. No one else has that 10% discount. So I know that sounds sales gimmicky, but it really is the reality. Use his code. And I would highly suggest give it a try for a few months. You're going to see the value in it. We've got it priced very, very competitively. Frankly, and Sean, I think you would probably attest to this. We could get away with probably triple the price for the amount of stuff that we're actually offering.
I think so. I mean, probably possibly more because of the value, because you're cutting out a lot of different things. I mean, people got to understand, when you deal with social media marketing and building a social media brand, these social media individuals are going to hit you for probably like 18 grand for 3 months.
Easy.
Like I mean, like, dude, it's in this, and you're obviously this is nowhere even near that. So the amount of service and everything that they're getting within the app, I mean, it's almost criminal, right?
Yeah, I'll tell you a quick story before we go.
Sure.
I had for years, I was a VP of, like I said earlier, one of the highest producing mortgage banks in America. We were massive. We had our market share in the Pacific Northwest was massive. And we brought in a social media gal who was awesome. I let her do a little bit for me personally, but I didn't share a lot of my personal life because I was a loan officer as well as a VP, and letting real estate agents know that I was far wealthier and far more successful than them didn't bode so well. So like I would kind of hide. Everything was about the brand of the branch. So anyway, she came in, ran that stuff, but we are offering probably 5 times what she actually did for us as a company, and she was on salary for over $6,000. And that's normal for
$6,000 a month is what you're saying.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And our service. So I've had multiple employees in that role over the last 17 years. And that's part of what spurred this, where we went, we can actually do this for a fraction of the cost, and we can make this so much easier.
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah, dude, you guys are priced well. I mean, ridiculously low in my opinion. And, there's a ton of apps out there that these big influencers are pushing, and there's zero value in the app, dude, like zero. And they're charging people like $299 a month.
Yeah. There's nothing there. Yeah.
And we're not even close to that on Athlete Narrative. I just want to be clear on the air. We're not even close to that.
No,
right. So
we're $100 and $90 for anyone that uses your stuff. And again, the fact that it posts for you, that alone is massive for people.
That alone right there is worth probably $400, $500 a month.
Because they don't have to do anything.
Because they do it every day. Like I don't want, you know what I mean? Like I know the pains of it, and I know how scattered, being a father and a husband and like all the other things that I have going on that about. It's very difficult, to sit there at times like, okay, what's this caption going to be? It's like I'm almost like, the guy from Dumb and Dumber, like, with his foot on fire, asking for phone numbers. Like, God, for God's sakes, give me the answer. Like, I can't handle it, man. Like, it's a lot. So there's a lot of value there. So, everybody, listen, research it. It's in my link me bio on Instagram at the Sean French. You can go there for it, or you can simply just click the show notes right here. Go to it, check it out. Sign up, give it a whirl. I mean, you're going to spend $90 on Uber Eats tomorrow anyway. You might as well do something that's going to build your brand and help you be successful in life. So, Brian, dude, thank you again for coming on here late at night to hop on this show and give value to my audience. And I love what you guys are doing. And for the record, I wouldn't be a part of it if I didn't truly believe in you guys and the brand. So I'm just grateful. And so thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I appreciate you letting us come on here.
Hell yeah, man. So, hey, with that being said, guys, you stay cool. Get your shit done tomorrow. Make sure you are keeping your word in everything that you say you're going to do. Do not lie to yourself. It's the worst thing you can do. But the last thing I want you to do is I want you to share this show with an athlete, a parent, to everybody you know. It doesn't matter to me, but and let us know what you think about it. Leave a 5-star written review for me if we've earned it. And with that being said, guys, we'll chat with you next time. Peace. Southwest Florida is one of the most beautiful places on the planet to live. For those of you that are thinking of moving from other states to come to Florida, or even just moving to a different part of the state, I want you to think of a big, beautiful luxury home. Contact Legacy Luxury Builders. They are a family-owned and operated luxury residential construction company. As a family-owned business, they believe in the power of building not just homes, but legacies. Contact Legacy Luxury Builders. The nightmare of feeling like you'll never measure up, of constant second guessing and self-doubt. It eats away at you and destroys your confidence. I've been there too, feeling like I didn't belong on the field with my teammates, but it doesn't have to stay that way. I used to compare myself to everyone around me. I thought that no matter how hard I worked, I'd never be as good as the other guys. It killed my self-belief. I now help athletes develop an elite mindset so comparison no longer controls them. We teach techniques to cut out the negative self-talk and unlock your full potential. Imagine stepping into the box when it counts the most and feeling totally confident in your ability, feeling invincible instead of insecure, ready to seize the opportunity instead of shrinking from it. That's the mindset I help athletes develop. Don't waste another minute on comparison and self-doubt. Take control of your mindset and become the confident, unstoppable competitor you are meant to be. DM or comment below to get started with Edge and transform your mental game.